I love getting like halfway through the Let's Play and we're like, oh.
I know. Well, sometimes the game will like just spawn the mouse like in the very center of the screen. It's just like, oh no.
And my brain is used to just like phasing out the mouse. But I realize when you're watching a video and the mouse is in a weird spot, I'm like, why don't you move the mouse?
Little Let's Play frustrations over there. So
don't put that there. It tickles.
what? Wait, what? What's going on?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
It was just a dream.
I was like, I thought we were past the sex scene. No.
Startled awake, I pushed myself upright, blinking to rid my eyes of haziness. Outside my window, the sky is unusually dark. Wait, what's unusually dark for nighttime?
It's
unclear. The soft pattering of droplets against the glass makes me realize it must be storming.
Oh shit! Thus, signaling the final phase of the game.
I'm coming. One moment.
I pull on my clothes as fast as I can, missing a few buttons, and rush over to the door to pull it open.
To just pull it wide open where someone's standing with a knife.
Have they not invented robes yet? Like, it seems like his clothing difficulties would be very easily solved by a robe.
Yeah, but can you, if you just put on a robe, like, you're not going to have your ascot on. maybe a robe with an ascot?
Yeah, maybe it's got an ascot built in.
You're plot relevant.
Rather than the face of someone I was expecting, like Franz or Silas, the person standing before me is none other than Hazel's mother, the maid Emily.
The maid Emily.
Rivian, it's terrible. I did something awful. Please help me.
Ooh.
What? Oh no. All right. Do you have any bets?
She covered up a murder because she was somewhere she wasn't supposed to be.
Okay, that's a pretty good bet. I'm gonna say that she bit her tongue while eating a biscuit. Okay.
Looking like she's about to break into tears, Emily bites her lower lip and stares up at me pleadingly.
Let's calm down, shall we? Step inside for a moment and tell me what happened.
She's the murderer.
She could be the murderer.
I gesture for her to enter my room a bit awkwardly, and she hurries past the door with an anxious nod. Well, what an excellent start to my morning. A hysterical maid begging me for help.
Rivian, you're just the worst.
Yeah, begging?
Jesus Christ.
I'm sure this can only portend great things for the rest of the day.
Oh my god, Rivian.
After I closed the door behind us, I turned back to Emily, frowning at her desperate expression.
Slow down for a moment, Emily, and take a deep breath. Now, what's the matter?
I actually really like this track that's playing in the
Lady
background.
Valora. She's been apprehended by the guards.
My aunt! No!
I blink. Surely I must have misheard her. My aunt arrested?
Are you sure you're talking about Valora, the King's Foreign Affairs Advisor? Old stuffy lady, gruesome personality?
Oh, I'm sorry, no, Valora, not Valora.
Yes, I am. I know you're related, and I was afraid to come to you because I thought you'd be angry, but
because historically you're
I don't know
kind
who
of
else to ask.
From how pale and visibly unsettled the woman is, clearly she's done something related to Valora's apprehension.
Yes.
Apprehension? Isn't
yes.
apprehension an emotion, not being apprehended?
No, you can be apprehended. It's like to
yeah,
be
you can be
seized.
apprehended, but is apprehension the anyway?
No. I think it works. It works.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It must be quite bad too. I'm not sure how else they'd have grounds for detaining a woman of her position.
Well, I'm sure everything was just a big misunderstanding. Why did they arrest her? Glaring too angrily at the Inquisitor?
Emily swallows hard, grasping the hem of her skirt so hard that her knuckles start to turn white.
Wow. Shit.
They found a weapon in her room, a knife covered with dried blood. It matches the wound on the victim from the other night, and so she's been taken in and charged with murder.
Right, because we're going on like there is no science.
It matches the wound. Like, what did they have? Like a forensic, what is it? A forensic...
What?
What?
Oh God.
Anyway.
Oh shit. Wow. This is embarrassing. I also forgot. But yeah, like
Coroner.
did they put the knife in the wound as in like were they like, oh, I
think
wonder
they
if this
used to,
fits?
actually.
What?
I think that's how they figured it out.
That's so creepy.
At that, my jaw practically hits the floor.
They put the knife back in?
Yeah. My old batty aunt, a murderer? Impossible, and yet why on earth was something like that in her room?
She must be the murderer.
But Sir Rivian, I think that knife was there because of me.
I mean, his aunt may be mean, but I don't think she's stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, who keeps the murder weapon in their
hold on
room?
there. Because of you? I need
Yeah,
some more
right,
details,
absolutely.
Emily.
She brushes her trembling fingers through her hair, inhaling and exhaling a deep breath in a visible attempt to calm herself.
Well, 2 nights ago, I was cleaning the upper halls when suddenly one of the guards approached me.
So if you just wear guard armor, can you just do fucking anything?
Pretty much, as long as your
He
guard
gave
armor
me
doesn't
a
show your
small bundle
face.
of wrapped cloth and told me it was something Lady Valora had dropped. But as she was down in the ballroom, I ought to leave it in her room when I went to clean it. I thought it was, well, a little strange, but I didn't see any reason not to trust one of the guards. So when I went to Lady Valora's chambers, I tucked the wrapped cloth inside one of her top drawers, since she is a very fastidious lady and does not like anything lying around her room.
It's all the guard's fault. I can tell from her crestfallen, guilty tone of voice that she's beating herself up inside for being used to frame Valora.
Oh,
It's difficult to really blame her, though. I can guess who the guard was that she spoke with. It must have been right after the murder. And now that I think about it, didn't that brawler from earlier say that he saw her in the hallway that night?
The thing is, I couldn't shake the horrible feeling that I got from speaking with the guard. The way he gave me the bundle and very slowly, quietly, told me to put it in her room. It was almost like he was threatening me. It made me feel so nervous that my hands were shaking on my way to Lady Valora's chambers. But I thought that if I complained about the guard to someone in charge, I'd be punished.
Now that's about
or
the class
mocked
type
for
of
it,
warfare
so
I was expecting,
I said
right?
nothing.
yeah.
I can't complain because I'd be punished.
I mean, to be fair, like, rightly so, for, like, you know, wasting the guard's time, having to get the nobility involved, and, like, it's just... She did the right thing, I think, you know?
She trails off into an almost inaudible murmur, closing her eyes for a long moment, her head drooping slowly towards the ground. The poor woman looks like she's ready for me to start yelling at her at the top of my lungs, as if she's some sort of puppy who just chewed up all of the expensive furniture.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if I click and the next line is just Rivian yelling at her at the top of his lungs. Like,
Of course, Valora's life is a bit more important than furniture. Only slightly, though.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ,
thanks,
Rivian.
Well, this is a proper mess, isn't it? Did you explain all of that to the Inquisitor, though? I'm sure he's reasonable enough to see it was a setup.
Just when I thought Emily was already white as a ghost, she seems to somehow grow a shade paler.
She seems to illuminate the
The thing
room.
is, sir, that wasn't all they found.
She
There was
actually
something
fades
else.
away because she's a ghost.
blood-stained cloth, hidden in her personal chest, which only she has the key to.
Whose blood is it?
I
Well,
didn't
not
put
like
it
they're
there,
blood testing.
and only Silas and I hold the master keys for the guest chambers. But I know it wasn't Silas. I'd sooner trust him before myself. And so, Lady Valora must have known about the
It
cloth.
could just be a bloody cloth.
I can think of a number of reasons why a woman might have a bloody cloth in her room.
Right, and like, right, like,
Confusion clouds my mind as I parse Emily's concerned words. I still don't see how Valora could possibly be a killer of anything except hopes and
Oh my
dreams,
God.
that is. So why did she have something so incriminating?
and there was a dyed red cloth in her room.
My aunt's a smart woman. Yeah, whatever she was doing with that cloth, I'm sure she knew the risks of keeping it in her room.
I'm starting to think this was a very well-planned setup. The key is just to find who's moving all the pieces into place.
Is it a well-planned? Whatever.
I don't mention it aloud to Emily, but it sounds very plausible that those disciples of Ignatius are behind this too.
You just learned about them last night. You literally don't even know who they are. Whatever.
To both kill an ambassador and worsen relations even further by framing a foreign advisor for it. It's a perfect plan to force two countries into war.
Is it?
I think you're right, sir. I want to see Lady Valora freed and apologize for everything. I don't know what I should do. And I fear if I involve myself too much, my little Hazel may be in danger.
Oh shit.
The maid gazes at me pleadingly as if expecting me to solve everything and save the day right then and there.
I mean, why don't we just go talk to Linnaeus about
Right?
this?
Like,
Christ.
You've been quite helpful, Emily. Don't be too hard on yourself. I'll find a way to figure
Emily
this out.
and go to
Somehow.
Linnaeus. It's not...
I believe in you, sir. The king always put such faith in your father to solve every problem that came up, and I'm sure you'll become even more famous than he was.
Emily, that is the most misplaced trust I've ever seen in my life.
I wince a little as my father is brought up, like always.
Man.
Still, Emily means well, so it's difficult to get too annoyed at her.
Oh my God, Rivian.
That, and I'm pretty sure she'd burst into tears if I so much as gave her an angry look right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that aside, I'll reach out to you should I have any questions. In the meantime, don't go taking any more parcels from
I had to get like that
strangers, eh?
backhanded, like... Thanks, Rivian.
Nice joke, buddy.
As you say, sir. Thank you so much, and best of luck to you.
God, Jesus
And
Christ.
she fucks off, and...
Like, isn't she important? Like, shouldn't we bring her to Linnaeus
Right?
and explain this?
I'm left with a renewed, uncomfortable sense of responsibility, and I sigh quietly while rubbing the bridge of my nose.
Oh no.
It's one thing to look after myself, but now I have to try and get Valora off the hook too? As much as I tried to put on a brave face for Emily, I feel like this is quickly measuring up to be an impossible task.
So you go talk to Linnaeus about this and explain that Emily
That's way too
that
much,
Valora was
like-
probably just like on her period or something.
That makes way too much sense, like...
Uh,
As if to echo my sentiments, distant thunder rumbles slowly, like the growl of some unseen danger. My stomach growls too, reminding me that I haven't eaten since yesterday afternoon. There was so much going on that I didn't even think about it. Well, I could always stand to lose a few pounds, probably.
oh no! Don't think that way.
That's not how that works. After staring contemplatively out my window for a few minutes, I head into the hallway, slowly closing the door behind me. Today is the last day of the celebration, so it's the only chance I have to catch the murderer and clear my aunt's name. I'll try to investigate some more and find something that'll give me a hint as to who framed Valora, and how.
Oh.
And then tomorrow, I'll finally be able to flee this hellhole and head back to home where I belong.
I think we're approaching the ending of this game.
Well, I guess if it's the last day, like 24 hours remain, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to seriously think twice before ever leaving the house again.
By the way, something that is evidently clear to me is that I am bad at visual novels, so we did not end up on the Arden route because we didn't follow an incredibly specific set of steps
Oh, I see.
needed for the Arden route.
Oh, no.
So that's my bad.
Well, maybe
But-
I'll have to play it and see what Arden's route looks like.
That's true. As always, we have the link in below, so if you want to go pick the game up and check out the Arden route, you can go do that.
Arden! I make way from the guest rooms to the upper level of the main hall, hearing the chattering of voices growing steadily louder. It's a welcome change from the eerie silence of last night, so despite my dislike of crowds, I find myself actually a little relieved. When I reach the main hall, I can quickly see that a number of guests are gathered here to talk and be served elegant finger foods, courtesy of the numerous servants drifting around with trays.
Thanks, servants.
The rain outside is pouring down and doesn't seem to be letting up anytime soon, so the castle will probably be packed most of the day. I grab a cup of tea and some strange but delicious sweet cake that I've never
you're
seen
so
before.
bad at this, Rivian. Fuck.
And tuck into it while walking around the upper balcony.
You just kind of really get on into that sweet
Yeah.
cake.
I'm hoping for a glimpse of Silas, Ulster, or that brawler man, since they might be able to give me a few more clues.
That brawler man, by the way, you can totally romance. He's the fourth romanceable man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you just want to hear nothing but a Scottish voice for like 5 hours. God, that was oh, damn it. Go see my Fran Bow playthrough if you want to see the true depth of terrible Scottish and Gaelic voices.
Cake. I can't eat cake, and I really miss cake.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. As I chew the sweet sponginess with relish, my eyes suddenly catch a familiar black ponytail standing not far off.
Who I go and talk to.
A ponytail attached to its owner, of course. Well, yeah. Whose tall, slim figure and bespectacled face I recognize clearly.
It's Arden!
Swallowing the rest of the cake, I hurry over to the table Linnaeus is furtively lurking around.
Oh, yeah, we better swallow the rest of that cake because Linnaeus doesn't like it when we eat sweets.
When I get close, I resist the temptation to tug at his temptingly fluffy tied back hair, and instead just clear my throat loudly. Yeah, that would end
Linnaeus,
badly.
just the man
It
I
wouldn't be
wanted to
good.
see.
No.
He was tucking into some cake too. He jumps a little, whirling around to face me with a startled hand caught in the cookie jar sort of expression.
I look down and taking a glimpse in his hand, his lips curled, his hand in the cookie jar.
What are you doing so shadily over here? Wait a moment, is that wine? It's not even new.
I really doubt they had that rule.
I also doubt that.
Excuse me, Mr. High and Mighty. If you had to detain your own king's blasted advisor, you'd be drinking your pain away too.
Oh.
In his hands, Linnaeus holds the half-empty glass of wine, and it looked like he was about to reach for the bottle when I snuck up on him.
Besides, I'm just getting a brief break from trying to solve this ridiculous affair.
Oh, now it's
I'm not
ridiculous. I thought
looking
it was
forward to
serious
questioning
earlier.
Your old witch of an aunt, let me tell you.
Well, I mean, I would have to agree that it's ridiculous.
At
so.
least we agree she's an awful old lady then. But I
Boy, what a
assure
way
you,
to defend
Linnaeus,
your aunt,
There's
dude.
no way she could be a murderer.
I mean,
You
it's
must
not.
know that.
It's not a bad role.
He lets out a heavy sigh, taking a long drink of the ruby liquid in his cup, before pushing up his glasses and turning his gaze reluctantly toward me.
I can't deny the facts, Varison. The cloth hidden in her room, along with the maid's testimony of being threatened by a suspicious guard, right after you encountered that guard last night, is about as incriminating as you can get.
Wait, what? Along with the maid's testimony?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Did she tell him already?
Because we captured that guard in like a dark corner of the castle. I would think that that's totally like hush hush.
Yeah, wait, don't we have that guard somewhere?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Why don't we just question the guard? Have you not questioned the guard? The guard who tried to murder... Linnaeus, what are you doing?
Do I actually believe she did it? No. But the politics of the matter demand that someone
The
is
guard!
punished or else
You
our
literally have a
relations with Olivia
faceless
will grow even
asshole.
worse.
A faceless asshole, dude.
He sounds unusually grim for once, and I can tell he's not happy with the decision he's in. As much as I'd like to be angry with him, it's hard to hate the man just for doing his job.
It's so easy to hate him.
The real culprit is still out there,
The
you know.
guard!
I'll be damned if I don't get to him before the celebration is over. And when I do, you're writing my aunt an apology letter.
100 times! An amused, curious smirk crosses Linnaeus' sharp features, his eyes glimmering at me with interest behind his glasses.
Am I now? Well, best of luck to you. I've already questioned everyone involved, but perhaps you want to start with your attacker from last night, who firmly testifies that your aunt collaborated with him to murder the ambassador.
So they did question the
Or
guard.
maybe
I
you could
guess
ask
so.
Laura's own ward, that boy, Alistair.
Why are we questioning people? Isn't it your job? My eyes widen at Linnaeus' added description of the boy. Alistair, my aunt's ward?
I guess Alistair is probably a prince also or something.
Well, it's true she's currently childless. Her only daughter ran away from home. And
Shit.
come to think of it, Alistair said something about his guardian being in a bad mood the other day, didn't he?
Okay, so we called it.
Perhaps she took him off the streets, and that's why he's so jittery and anxious all the time. Poor fellow.
Oh,
Or it's her grandchild. Like,
or it's like an actual ward, as in like a political prisoner.
oh, that's true. She's the foreign advisor.
Right, yeah.
If I had to spend every waking hour with Valora, I'd probably be at my wit's end too.
I see. Well, I suppose I'll start sniffing out some clues then. By the way, Linnaeus, why were you giving me that odd look the other night? Back when I was being detained in your office.
What? Wait, what?
The Inquisitor only shrugs at that, topping off his glass of wine before turning slightly away.
God, only Rivian could notice like an odd look just like this.
Indeed. I knew you had neither the guts nor the spine to kill a man.
Ooh, snap.
But if you were in the gardens during the murder, you were almost certainly seen by the true culprit. I figured I could keep your impulsive self safe for the rest of the party, locked in a guarded room. But clearly, you prefer to rely on that
He's basically telling us
bastard
we're too
charmant
stupid to have
instead.
done it.
He's
A
telling.
questionable decision.
He's also telling us that we're too stupid to have romanced him.
Linnaeus shakes his head disapprovingly, gaze darkening with mistrust.
Luckily
Wow.
for him, everyone seems to have forgotten about the nasty political affairs he was rumored to be caught up in a few years ago. Oh well,
Oh my
it's your
God.
reputation, Varison.
No, I didn't
Your
ask for
life.
this.
I just chose esoteric prompts.
With that markedly cool, flippant statement, he pushes up his glasses and turns away, striding briskly towards the stairs. Even though my first instinct is to brush them off as petty dislike, Linnaeus's words remain ringing distantly in my ears. I've yet to hear a positive thing about Franz from anyone. It's difficult to ignore all this suspicion when it keeps piling up.
We also haven't heard positive things, like, from ourselves about Franz.
Has Rivian said a positive thing about anyone?
That's true.
I eyed the wine table for a longing moment. No, Rivian, getting completely sozzled is not going to help your investigation. Sozzled.
Have you ever been sozzled?
Maybe?
I think I've probably been sozzled.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, yeah.
God, I feel sozzled right now.
Taking a deep breath to stiffen my self-control, I turn away and force myself down to the lower level. More importantly, I need to see about meeting with Alistair or that blasted guard. Although, there is something I hadn't even considered before. What if, by some chance,
Oh my
there's
God.
still a clue around the place of the
Oh
crime?
my God.
What if the call was coming from inside the castle the whole time? Assuming that's the gardens where the ambassador was found, surely there won't be anyone wanting to snoop outside in the rain either. It's a bit of a long shot, but this seems like one of the few opportunities I'd have to try it. It's not like he has a flashlight. Does he expect to find anything out there?
Right, yeah, absolutely.
I casually make my way over towards the garden exit, trying not to look particularly out of place.
Maybe there's evidence over at the scene of the crime where it's now storming, or there's a bunch of rain washing away all the evidence.
It seems like a lot of ladies brought their parasols down, expecting to go outside today, but thanks to the rain, parasols are for sun, not rain.
Yeah.
num-
Rivian.
Jeez, Rivian, God.
How embarrassing.
A number of them are neatly arranged in a rack not far from the garden door.
Do we get to choose the color?
I make sure that no one's directly observing me, then make a subtle reach for one of the parasols.
What about when they see you through the windows?
They're not exactly the most weatherproof things, but it's better than just getting soaked, outright soaked. He's stealing someone's parasol and ruining it. Luckily, the guard who normally would have been standing by the door is standing a fair distance away, thoroughly distracted in conversation with some blushing young man.
Oh.
Gods, no wonder Arden managed to position this joke of a place.
Okay, Rivian, you're not contributing with your lack of self-preservation.
I quietly slip out into the gardens, hastily raising the parasol soon after, to keep the rain from immediately assaulting me. Heavy droplets soon saturate my makeshift shield as I walk the same path I did a few nights ago, this time taking care to avoid standing in front of any of the windows for too long. Recalling what Celeste told me last night, I attempt to envision where the ambassador must have walked to. She said he'd gone further down the path from where I was standing.
Okay.
So if I keep heading this way, then
I'll trip over some important evidence.
I'll get to a bench. When I round a corner of the garden, my eyes catch something a little unusual.
A bench?
One of the bushes is oddly squished, as if someone fell onto it.
Or maybe a random animal. Or a bird.
Or an ambassador. And the surrounding grass is a bit patchy, like some of it was kicked up or scuffled against.
God, if only Linnaeus had looked at this at all.
Considering how meticulously well kept the rest of the garden is, I think this could be the place the ambassador fought with his murderers. I lower myself down into a crouch, patting the grass and squinting to see if anything looks unusual or out of place.
I imagine that's like a Dark Souls patches
Squat.
type of squat.
The parasol is starting to drip a bit, and I'm going to feel very silly if I get caught out here with nothing to show for myself.
Sorry, can you really emphasize? Oh.
How do you pronounce that?
No, I thought that was good. I might have gone with the
Oh, what's this?
Oh, what jolly fun, sir. When I reach inside the bush's crushed leaves. I can't
Oh
do
no,
that.
don't do that.
No, my hand suddenly brushes something that feels metallic. I take a hold of it and pull it carefully out, revealing it in my palm. A bracelet? pretty silver one, too, with fine enough filigree to make any girl jealous. Oh, is it a Celeste? Could it be then that a woman really did commit this crime?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
The ambassador was certainly a male. And if the fake guard was the other half of the conspiracy, that only leaves one individual left. I don't see how it could be a girl I know, though. Celeste, Emily, Valora, Hazel. Although, come to think of it, this bracelet looks awfully familiar. Haven't I seen Valora wearing this?
I would be down for the plot twist that it actually
It actually was Valora.
Yeah.
A sudden rustling noise makes me jerk upright. My heart skips a beat, and I step slowly backwards, lowering myself a little.
Hey, Franz.
I thought no one would come out here in this weather. I hold my breath, not daring to move an inch, praying for whoever's there to go away.
It's gonna be Franz. It's gonna be
Kitten, is that you?
It was. A weary voice calls out to me. Moments later, a tall, tanned figure steps out of the bushes and approaches me, shaking his head.
Franz! Phew. You just about gave me the scare of my life.
Do you care to explain why on earth you're skulking around in the rain, holding a lady's parasol and a bracelet?
I don't care to explain. Quite frankly, it's all very silly.
Is it
You don't
just me, or is he doing like a
cross-dress on the
Choiniki
side, do you?
pose? Like,
Come to think of it, I'd love to see you in a skirt.
oh, I'm just
if I'm
casually
being
standing here
honest.
with my bicep up.
I mean, I don't know. How do you stand? This is how I stand all the time, Fiona. It's normal.
Why is he like kink shaming us a little bit there?
Yeah, Franz, you kink shaming us?
I barely managed to resist the urge to crack my soaked parasol over Franz's head, and instead just glare at his delighted smirk.
Ignoring your bizarre conclusions, I was looking for any clues that could help out our search.
Oh. Oh.
Sad in the rain.
Oh, none of this is rain. Every single drop of water and every single streak of water are his tears.
Oh. Franz's eyes light up at that, and he saunters closer, his large boots sinking slightly into the soaked earth with each heavy step.
It seems my clever little kitten got a step ahead of me. I was planning on coming out here earlier before I heard about that unpleasant business with your aunt.
Yes, unpleasant.
You
That she's a
did
murderess.
get the news. didn't you?
I would be down.
Maybe she was meeting with the ambassador, and that's why she was out here. She didn't really kill the ambassador.
Yeah, like they were both crouching in the bushes and they were
Yeah.
like negotiating
Like
an
you
important
do.
national. Yeah, whatever.
When I nod grimly, Franz rubs at the back of his neck with a hand, shaking his head sympathetically. The raindrops have matted his dark hair to his forehead, and the water streams down his tanned features in a way that serves to make him look even more exotic.
I found this bracelet actually, and it reminds me of one Valora wears. Which is, you know, not very helpful with the whole proving her innocent business.
Maybe someone planted it there and assumed that Linnaeus might bother to go look for it.
I show Franz the bracelet, and he frowns thoughtfully, rubbing a hand against his cheek.
Not a very encouraging sign. I doubt they'll let you ask her about it, considering she's locked up for questioning. But there might be someone else
Oh.
who could tell you if it's the same one. Doesn't look like there could be many other clues here, though. And
Well,
the
especially
rain
not
has
after we've
probably
been
ruined
tromping
any
around,
residual
like,
evidence that might
ruining
have been
the
left
evidence.
behind.
I can't help but study Franz as he leans down by the bush, scanning keenly through the grass. He carries himself with practiced calmness, like he's done this sort of thing a number of times before.
Have you investigated a lot of crimes in the past? It seems like a strange activity for a member of a royal family to be involved in.
Franz pauses, shooting me a look of shock. Oh, that's right. I didn't mention I knew he was Peruvian royalty.
Oh shit.
Ah, Silas mentioned your bloodline the other day. I wasn't sure why you kept it so hush-hush.
I mean, anyone could have, whatever.
He gradually pushes himself up to his feet, pursing his lips for a moment. Franz really doesn't like talking about this, does he?
Well, I'm not exactly proud of it. Nor am I very welcome in Peruvia any longer. Although I have no desire to go back.
Wow.
His grim tone catches me off guard. He seems unusually vulnerable right now, and I wonder if this might be my opportunity to learn more about him.
I wonder if this might be my opportunity to strike.
Right? Oh, geez.
Let's press him further. I'm not
not
absolutely
interested in cheering him up right now, so...
I mean, as much as I'm not really interested in learning more about Franz in any way, this is the better option, I think.
Deciding to try and get some more details about his past, I clear my throat pointedly.
You've not been very forthcoming about anything to do with your past. Couldn't you spare a few details to assuage my curiosity?
I know we're standing in the rain investigating a murder, but tell me more about how you grew up.
He's crying again.
Oh. His brow furrows and the expression in his eyes is a little detached, aloof almost, as he watches me silently. I'm not used to seeing such a calculating look on his face, and it makes me... Is that calculating?
Yeah, sure, why not?
3 + 4 is 7. After a moment, Franz exhales a soft sigh, shaking his head a little.
Since you've already learned about my family, I suppose I could tell you that, well, I knew the Peruvian ambassador.
Maybe
was an
Franz
awful
killed him the whole time.
He's been investigating himself to see how he killed him.
His voice darkens a little once more, and he runs his fingers through his rain-slicked hair.
He was awful? Surely you were a little glad when you discovered he was snuffed out then.
Jeez, Rivian.
He deserved it, certainly. What frightens me more, though, is that I'm starting to think the disciples didn't murder him just because of his status, which means they may have another target as well.
Such as you.
My confusion deepens as Franz glances off into the distance, seemingly musing to himself more than anything. I've guessed for a while that he knows more about this case than he's letting on, but there must be a reason why he's avoiding divulging it all to me. Maybe because it's painful.
Ignore my ramblings. I'm just getting paranoid from being wrapped up in this mess.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, Franz is a way more interesting character if you have more than 10 seconds of him not just aggressively harassing us. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that, whatever.
His demeanor quickly lightening again, Franz ducks under my parasol, which is barely big enough for me, let alone both of us, and curls an arm around my waist.
Thus destroying all of my gained political status so far.
Let's go back inside, shall we? Unless you want to try kissing in the rain.
Is that an option so
yes,
I can choose
let's
no?
go inside, that is, not kiss. Stop making that face at me.
Oh,
Franz chuckles at my flushed cheeks as we head back towards the castle.
you know, it's been long enough since our last recording session that like my mind has glazed over the Franzening that happened.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's okay.
Wow, that's actually really creepy though, because that kind of mirrors real life. Ugh.
Internally apologizing to the poor lady whose parasol I borrowed, I leave the unfortunate accessory out. What, you did?
Why not just bring
you
it
didn't even
back?
put it back? Like,
Jesus.
after peering through the door's window to ensure the nearest guard's back is turned toward us, Franz motions for me to follow him into the main hall, and we sneak in without drawing too much attention, except
Despite-
the fact that we're soaking wet.
Absolutely. It's fine. Whatever.
While I'm fairly dry, Franz is dripping somewhat ludicrously all over the polished floors, and I give him a disapproving sigh.
You're making the servants' lives hell, you know. You should really go dry. Oh, hello, Hazel.
Hazel, fetch us a towel.
Rather unexpectedly, I notice a set of bright pink pigtails bouncing toward us and turn to face the source. Hazel comes to a stop before us, an alarmed frown on her face.
Sir Rivian,
Mommy's been
you're all
arrested.
wet. And you... Who are you?
Oh no.
Franz stares at Hazel, and Hazel stares at Franz.
Who are you?
I can feel my soul leave my body. He doesn't really seem to know what to do. Has he never seen a little girl before?
Has he ever interacted with anyone else in any way that's not just harassing them?
I'm called Franz, miss. How do you do?
Oh no, are we gonna attempt to humanize him?
Somewhat awkwardly crouching down, Franz extends one of his large hands to Hazel. His movements are tentative, like someone trying to entreat a stray cat.
Oh, I'm Hazel. How'd you do?
She firmly grasps his hand with both of her tiny own and pumps it up and down in an energetic shake.
Don't break my arm off now.
Oh, what is even happening?
It's hard for me to believe my own eyes, but Franz actually appears a bit flustered, or at least somewhat unsure of himself. He didn't act this way around Celeste. Is it possible that he isn't used to being around children?
Are you Sir Rivian's friend? If you're not, you should be. He's a very nice man.
Hazel,
He
you have
gave me
such a
pastry and
distorted view of
everything.
who we are.
He gave me a pastry, so everything is
You
okay.
need a towel. I don't think Silas would be happy if he saw you getting the floor all soaked.
This is purely Hazel trying to avoid, like, being punished later.
Yeah. Hazel points to where a puddle is forming around Franz's boots, pursing her lips together.
You're right. If it wouldn't be too much trouble, then
I'm
please.
pretty sure you probably need to not
be
wear
long.
your wet clothing. Like,
Yeah,
Damn move,
that's
though.
part of the problem here.
After sternly eyeing Franz, Hazel turns and rushes off toward one of the side corridors, the pattering of her footsteps lightly echoing in the main hall. It isn't long before her little shape disappears, and I turn to Franz with a laugh spilling out before I can stop myself.
So the smooth talking rogue gets tongue-tied around children, is it? Who knew?
Is he smooth talking? Is he?
Franz shoots me a light glare, still visibly embarrassed. A gleeful sense of having finally gained the upper hand for once brightens my mood considerably.
Is it because you feel guilty about using your normal crafty tricks on them?
Or
Or perhaps you've forgotten what innocence
is
is
it because
like?
you'd feel guilty for harassing young children?
That's enough out of you.
Sounding more sheepish than angry, he pinches my cheek playfully.
So weird.
Perhaps I was close to the mark, though. I've never seen him acting quite so unsure of himself before.
I want us to, like, all take a moment and stop and imagine us having our cheek pinched here as we think this, like he's actively pinching the cheek probably for seconds at a time, and we're just going, perhaps I was close to the mark, though.
My attempt at goading him succeeded. I decide not to push the subject further, but a smirk still creeps over my lips when Hazel runs back a minute later, clutching a towel almost as big as she is.
I'm back. Oh, you've really gone and messed up the floors now, sir.
She's right, the growing puddle is hard to miss.
Well, Franz, you're just a downright embarrassment, aren't you? Go on, get toweled off like the wet dog you are.
You two are really intent on bringing me down today.
Oh, man. Hazel's literally just trying to help you.
Right? She's trying not to get, in trouble. Letting out a sigh, Franz lowers his head a bit, bowing before Hazel like she's some sort of princess.
You can't towel yourself off?
Hazel clutches onto her towel with determination, then reaches out to start drying off Franz's soaked hair, standing on her tiptoes so she can reach.
Can't you just use the towel yourself? Oh,
Right?
whatever.
The scene really does resemble a girl drying off some large hound, no, perhaps a wolf, who's just come in from the rain. It's a surprisingly touching moment. I didn't think Franz, of all people, would have ever put himself in such a vulnerable position before others.
It's. I suppose I would have assumed Franz would use the towel himself.
And I suppose there's something rather endearing about how awkwardly he stands there, subjecting his hair to the enthusiastic ruffling from Hazel's towel.
Okay.
And we're just standing there watching this,
This is, yeah. Hazel steps back.
Now you won't ruin the carpet.
except it's already out. Franz lets out a slightly embarrassed cough, soothing back his ridiculously ruffled hair with one hand and scratching the side of his neck.
I mean,
Thank you,
whatever.
Miss Hazel. You've saved both the carpet and me, it seems.
I'm pretty sure he's still gonna make a giant mess. Whatever.
Hazel beams in response and tucks the towel back under her arm, seeming rather proud of herself.
Well, I need to be getting back now, but you two take care of each other, okay?
And they didn't see Hazel again until the end credits.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't startled when Hazel addresses Franz and me firmly.
You're both my friends now. So, Sir Franz, make sure Sir Rivian doesn't get into any trouble.
Yes.
That's rich coming from you.
Oh, sick burn on the child, Rivian.
Yeah, right. Even as I mutter doubtfully under my breath, Franz lets out a soft chuckle all of a sudden, dipping his head in a nod.
Of course. I'll make sure to keep him safe. Don't you worry.
All right, back to our good old Franz of vaguely creepy.
The unexpected gentleness in his tone leaves me momentarily speechless. Who are you and what have you done with Franz?
Good. I'll see you later then. Don't go back into the rain.
Okay. With the playfully chiding waggle of her finger at us, Hazel turns to go hurry off again.
Playfully chiding waggle of her finger.
yeah.
No one else in the universe would be able to tell if some other person was making that motion. Only Rivian. Only Rivian.
He's so descriptive. She runs so much, I don't think I've ever seen her walk anywhere before. Yeah, she gets beaten if she walks. I exhale a gentle sigh, feeling slightly warmed inside, despite the lack of progress we've made today in our investigation.
Made almost no progress.
We found a bracelet, I guess.
Well, as thorough as she was, you still seem a bit damp. You'd better go change clothes before you catch a chill. I don't want you sneezing all over me tonight.
Like,
Yes, dear, just as you say.
Franz offers a sly wink at me, then slips off towards a side staircase, presumably aware of an alternate path to get to his room without climbing the very visible main stairs.
I guess so. All right.
I watch him disappear in the distance with a fond smile growing on my lips before I even realize it.
The romance.
Shaking my head, I smooth back my slightly wet bangs while contemplating what to do with the bracelet that's still in my hand, glistening slightly with moisture.
Sir, you're getting the floor rather wet. I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to... Riv?
Arden,
Dun, dun, dun.
no. I predict that things are going to go very poorly for Arden. In fact, my prediction is that, like, things are going to go extremely poorly for Arden.
Yeah, Arden is, yeah.
Oh, no.
You weren't here a little while ago. Did they put you on emergency duty or something?
I'm not being sketchy at all.
I'm only briefly filling in for a friend of mine.
Wait,
Some horrible events happened last night,
a
you see.
friend?
So I volunteered to keep an
Friends
eye on
with
things.
What, the knight?
Yeah, the guy that the guard, like,
Yeah,
he's filling in for a friend. Is
Yeah.
this friend the guy that we arrested?
No, I'm sure that's just a weird innocuous
Okay.
statement.
Okay. He quirks an eyebrow at me curiously, his eyes flicking over the dampened parts of my person.
Were you out in the rain? A bit of a strange pastime. I could have brought you an umbrella if you'd asked.
I feel so bad because I just wanted to romance Arden. There's no time to go back though. Okay, I just need to live with this reality. I just need to live with it.
That is just Franz. I let out a nervous chuckle and fiddle with the bracelet in my hands, shrugging in reply.
Just exploring a little. I'm a big fan of rainstorms
That's
and all
not
that, you know.
sketchy at all.
What's that you have? It looks like the same bracelet Lady Valora wears. Awfully sorry about what happened to her, by the way.
Hold on a moment. She's wearing it now? You mean this is a duplicate?
When I cut him off, Arden tilts his head at me in surprise before nodding a little in confusion.
Yes, I helped escort her to the holding cells. It fell off her wrist, so I picked it back up and gave it to her. I commented how pretty it was,
Dun, dun,
and she told me how she'd gotten two of them made. One for herself and one for her daughter.
The runaway
It
daughter.
seems her daughter's estranged now, unfortunately, but she implied she'd given the second bracelet to someone else. I didn't get a chance to ask more before she went back to yelling about how unfair her detainment was, you see.
Oh.
This new piece of information clicks strangely in the back of my mind.
All right, so the daughter gave the bracelet to somebody.
But I don't want to jump to any conclusions. There's a very uncomfortable possibility I sense opening up.
Can we incriminate Franz?
Very interesting. Well, thank you, Arden. Always useful when I least expect you to be.
Rivian, you ass.
Such a jerk.
Thank you, I think.
He helped you a lot, Rivian. The least you could do is, like,
Not be a
acknowledge
dick.
that.
Oh,
I
God.
clap him distractedly on the shoulder, offering an encouraging nod before turning to head off towards the main stairs.
Wait, Riv! The masquerade's tonight, you know.
Oh,
I don't suppose you'd be interested in joining me?
Give me a choice.
his hopeful voice calls out to me from behind, but I can't bring myself to look back at him.
No,
I already have a date.
No.
Sorry.
Arden.
A sense of deja vu flits over me as I offer a distracted reply, but my thoughts are too preoccupied for it to stay on my mind very long.
Oh, Arden. Okay, all right. I think we need to take a break before we record this next episode so I can just be sad about Arden. So thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you like our videos.
And also, we have a Patreon, so you can find that at the end card or in the description. So thanks for watching.
Thanks,
Bye.
bye.